but I can tell you that I'm passionate about this, and I do feel like I have some honest, real feedback on how you can kind of get started. Hey guys, welcome back to Honey Rock Acres. Today's another one of those videos where I do what I call a work day, which is where I take off of work and then do more work. And it's already been a busy morning. I've already drove out and bought all the feed I need for the next several weeks. My daughter is graduating kindergarten, so we had a thing at her school this morning for that. Just a lot going on. If you're new to our channel, you may not realize that we're getting really close to being here doing this for 2 years, which 5-10 years ago, honestly, never really thought about homesteading. Shoot, 5 years ago, I was still working at a job that I, still pretty much liked. I was working with one of my best friends, and it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but never really thought about doing anything else. Even still, with us only being here for about 2 years, that's not when the dream started. And when I think back on it, I realized that it sort of started to manifest itself several years ago. And most of my life I've kind of thought about, like, I'd really like to have property, and I never really had a plan for it. I just wanted to have some property, something to go have fun on. It's just sort of a way to get away from things sometimes, and that's it. But then I realized, like, over the years, I've done a lot of different things. Thanks to my dad, I'm fairly handy. I've learned a lot of basic things, basic woodworking, mechanics, house maintenance. I did a lot of landscaping growing up. And so I've had my hands in a lot of different stuff. What's up, Lucille? What are you doing? I wake you up from a sleep? I'm sorry. You look sleepy. Yeah, you look sleepy. You have a long night barking away those coyotes. I say all that to say that I really believe that sort of my path to homesteading started many years ago. I clearly don't have enough experience to say that I've got it all figured out, but I can tell you that I'm passionate about this, and I do feel like I have some honest, real feedback on how you can kind of get started. And no, it's not about how you buy the land and all that stuff. It's just about how you balance your time. Because most people are probably going to be in a similar boat where they desire this, but don't know how to begin, how to balance things. And I'll start off right off the bat and tell you, it's tough, it's a lot of work, but it can be done. And I'll tell you some things that I've learned so far. And I'll use a punchline that my parents used to always tell me, which is, I may not be able to tell you how to do things the right way, but I can tell you what not to do. Let me give you the very first pointer right off the bat, and that is, you're always going to have more to do than you think you're going to have to do. So don't overextend yourself, because I promise you, you will fill up your free time with not free time. Here's one example of that. I've known that was getting soft for a while, and it finally fell through. So trailer is going to need some flooring work soon, and tires. As we were headed back here to drop the trailer off, we had a visitor in the path. It's in the way. I want to get run over. Oh, I see you too, Lucille. She don't even notice it. She probably thinks it's a rock. Oh, now she noticed. All right, buddy. That's a good sized turtle. No expert with turtles, but I think this is a box turtle. Say hello in there. Looks like you were headed for the fence, so we'll set you out. To share a little more context, because it matters, let me tell you what homesteading is for my family and what I mean by working full-time in homesteading. We've got 7 acres here. We're in Middle Tennessee. We raise pigs and chickens. Of course, I've got my dog Lucille and our pet dog Nala. We have 19 pigs right now. I've got, let's see, 38 chickens plus the 27 that we're raising out for meat. We've also got a small garden that we're running for our 2nd year. We have 3 young children. My wife's a grade school teacher, and I work full-time doing IT work. Hey, pig. Hey, pig. What's up, Henry? What's up, big pig? What's up, little pigs? What's up, guys? Oh, you've been laying in the mud. All right. There you go, guys. Hey, pig. They're just a little bit hungry because I accidentally shorted them this morning. I ran out of feed. Still got this whole pasture to munch on. So when I talk about homesteading full-time and working full-time, those are the cards that I'm playing with. So to go back to my very first point, you're gonna be busy. So don't overextend yourself. 2 years in, and I'm a very go-getter kind of person. I don't sit down and do nothing very often, partially because I get bored. So despite everything else that's going on, and despite the fact that I stay busy, which you guys, if you watch our channel, you know that's sort of my theme, right? Is, well, I'm busy today. Well, that's true. I stay very busy with work. And then after work, I stay very busy with all of this. To put a bow on that, I would just simply say, allot yourself more time than you think you'll need, because you're gonna need it. The next thing, and honestly maybe one of the most important things, is be willing to give yourself a little grace. And this sort of goes along with the first one. You're not going to get to everything, and you're going to make mistakes. This is hard, and it's hard to keep up with, but it's also just hard work. And the weather doesn't always cooperate, and sometimes, well, things just happen. Now, let me show you what I mean. You know, we've accomplished some pretty awesome things this year already, like the greenhouse, but I am horribly behind on several other things. Like my front yard, for example. It's due to be cut, and it's not gonna happen today. I never got my garden fully planted, and it's already getting overrun with grass, which I am trying to solve for. My compost pile, while it's doing pretty good, is becoming a weed farm in and of itself. My pastures back there, they're like 60% cut, and that's because I ran out of time. and so they're too tall. The area where I was gonna plant the pumpkins and the corn didn't happen. Probably won't. I'm also about a month late on butchering 2 of our pigs. Another thing I would say is learn to take the good with the bad. We've had a lot of things that just didn't really go well, you know, with whether it comes to moving some of the pigs around or some of the stuff that we've tried to do. The garden is a great example. The bad is it's already weedy, and last year our garden was frankly kind of a disaster. But I tried to give myself a little grace and understand that we had a newborn, and we still got, you know, food from it. And, you know, that's kind of the deal with this. I'm not getting as much in the ground as I had hoped, but the point is I'm still gonna get something. Our squash plants are doing pretty good. Our snap peas are doing okay. We've gotten strawberries. I mean, that's at least something. So don't get down on yourself. Learn to take some of the hits and roll with it. And maybe that comes to the next point, which is be a learner. Like a lifetime learner. Like, you know, I did some gardening as a kid. I went through FFA and I learned a lot, but as you can see, the garden still hasn't been doing great, and part of that's because my soil health is, well, garbage, but it's getting better. And so yeah, I've been learning and studying how to do that stuff and how to manage it and how to minimize, you know, the reliance on some of the chemical fertilizers and things. And, you know, yeah, we're using some, but we've made progress, and it's gotten better, you know, through some of our composting and some of the efforts with the chickens. All right, so I think I got 2 more, and I'll make it quick because I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me talk. The first one, find some ways to be frugal. Find some ways to either make money or save money, whether that's, you know, things that you can do, you know, things that you don't have to buy that maybe you know, would like to have. It's really easy to get in deep and get in expensive, and you got to balance that, especially if you're working full-time. And so for me, there are some areas where I've spent, you know, a good bit of money to make things easier for myself because I knew otherwise I wouldn't have the time to do it. And, you know, I've said it before, last year I overcommitted. I don't regret it, but it's the reality. Honestly, probably overcommitted again this year. But along with all the other things I've said, I'm just accepting that some stuff might not go 100%, and that's okay. But we've also found some other areas to, you know, recoup or save some of that cost. Like the chickens, for example. I mean, yeah, it's probably cheaper to just go buy the eggs, but we're getting better quality eggs, and, you know, we sell the extras, and that actually pays for itself. I mean, you know, for the most part, our chickens pay for themselves, which is a win. And then we eat eggs for free. Another way is, you know, with the pigs, like I could pay a butcher, but I've learned to do it myself to save a little bit of money. Of course, then we're not buying pork. And is it cheaper than just buying it at the store? It's close, but probably not cheaper. But it's much better quality and it tastes better. Of course, there's several other ways to save money, but just a couple of examples on sort of ways that we're trying to make the homestead kind of work for us. The last thing I want to say is don't give up. It's really easy to get overwhelmed sometimes. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Be diligent. You know, don't let things just beat you into the ground. Either walk away from it, let it go, or just simply come back to it. It's easy to get overwhelmed, but it's totally worth doing. And really, that's probably the #1 key thing is just don't give up, be flexible with stuff, and just accept that you're gonna get better as you go. And there'll be losses, there'll be mistakes. Your job is how you fund doing this. So the more you can do this and not have to rely on the actual finances, the less you'll have to rely on that if you're ever, you know, thinking you might try to transition. And, you know, for me, my job is what allowed us to buy the property, to buy the house, to buy the animals, and fund this, because I've not made money. Like, I mean, I've made money, but I've not profited at all. Like, we're probably net negative several $1,000s, not including like the house, you know, and the property. Work hard at finding kind of the right balance. Go in slow, don't jump in and overwhelm yourself, and enjoy it. I mean, honestly, that's the best part. Like, getting to come out every day to what's mine and seeing the animals and stuff, like Lucille. Where's she? Right there. It's worth it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. I don't know if this is helpful at all, or if it's more instructional or whatever, but I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, you know, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. Feel free to throw in more tips. I'm sure there's a lot of other more well thought out things, but today is one of those days where I've been slammed, and I got to thinking, like, how do I make all this work? And and I've had other people ask me that question, like, hey, how do you work a full-time job and make all that work? And the reality is frankly, I'm just roll with the punches. So either way, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon.